Welcome everybody to the next part in the series on buying a farm, farm ownership, the whole kind of 101 course as I'm calling it. Apologize, it has been a minute and that is my fault. We've been busy here and there and I've just slacked, but procrastinating actually paid off in this case. Normally I would say it's probably not a good thing, but it helped me in this scenario, and I'll explain to you why. Got to give a shout out first. Not sponsored in any way, but I'm sipping a little Blue Note bourbon. Highly recommend trying this out. They craft it in Memphis, which, as you know, I'm 20 miles or so out of Memphis, so I try to support my neighbors there, and we're all proud Tennesseans. So support Blue Note bourbon. They're really good. This is actually 120 proof, pretty hot, which I like. All right, anyways, this has worked out really interestingly. The last episode, I talked about using the Young Farmer Loan through FSA. The USDA offers their Farm Service Agency. I use a lot of abbreviations. That's just what they're known as. I think I explained that pretty good in the last episode. All right, this is the next option, and I'm excited to tell you how things have kind of changed. The last episode, I really encouraged you guys to use the Young Farmer's Loan, and I would still encourage a new person with nothing going in just bare bones, have nothing, no capital, any of that. It's definitely a good thing to look at. I would discourage somebody that has been in the game for a little bit. Maybe they want to expand. I would actually tell you to stay clear of the FSA loan. And this is what I just recently learned. So if you have a farm and you go to FSA, or let's say you have nothing. You don't have anything, you go to FSA, you get approved, you buy the farm. Hey, you are rock solid, man. You want to buy another farm? Use who I'm going to talk about today. I'm wearing their hat, not sponsored, but I am a huge fan of them, and that is Farm Credit. Now, I use Farm Credit Mid-America. They're in my area. There's several different, there should be a Farm Credit near you. Check out, look online, try to locate one nearby. Highly encourage you to use the Farm Credit as your loan. And I believe it's called the Growing Forward Program. That's what I'm in. It's pretty much Farm Credit's version of the Young Farmer Loan, like FSA offers you. It's easier to get approved. You're going to get some longer terms. They're going to kind of work with you. And that one of the really neat things is, and it's kind of funny, I actually dreaded this initially, but then I ended up really liking it. So when you enter the Growing Forward program, you go to Farm Credit, you talk to them, you're interested, and they agree, okay, you know, we'll work with you, we'll get you this loan. Part of being in the Growing Forward program is they require you to go to this, I think it was 2 days, 2 days of seminar, and it was in Franklin, Tennessee, in my area. It's going to be where they have them in different areas, so I mean, you won't have to come to Tennessee if you get this, but you have 2 years to go. They do it, I think, a few times a year. And we were not able to go the first year. We went the second year. Like I said, I wasn't particularly looking forward to going. And actually, it was really good. They had a marketing class. They talked about, how to set it up from a business standpoint. They broke down your finances. They actually look at your finances. Because to get to this point, you will have to set up, you'll have an advisor, essentially, with Farm Credit that'll go over your stuff with you. This is where I will say, I think Farm Credit knocks it out of the park versus even with FSA. Farm Credit goes above and beyond on working with you in a sense that you'll have an advisor. They'll help you look at your financials. You'll redo your financials every year, and they kind of break you down. They show you some percentages of your income and all that. And you'll learn a lot about all that at this class. The seminar was really good. It is very beneficial. And there's different things you can choose. You know, if you're more of a cattle operation, you can they'll have cattle specifics. If you're a row crop, they'll have row crop specifics. If your weakness is marketing in terms of contracts, booking, and doing that at the granaries, they have marketing classes. Like there's these different ways you can kind of go to tailor it to what your operation is. It was great. It was really great. I mean, and that's, like I said, I was actually not looking forward to going. They feed you, the food is provided, and we got to go to like a cool farm that night. It was very nice. Made some good friends there. So it was a really good experience, and it's a cool thing, I think, that they get you to do this. Now, if you don't complete that in the 2-year time frame, then I think you get kicked out of the Growing Forward program, and your interest rates will probably increase. You'll want to go. But I'm also telling you, it is beneficial. You will learn something. It's worth going to. The next phase of this, where it gets beat out by the FSA route, would be in the interest rates and the term lengths. You're not going to get as low of interest rate, and you're not going to get as long of terms. I don't know that they'll go over 30 years. I'm pretty sure 30 is the max. 25 is probably going to be what they'll try to get you to do, 25 years. And I know that might sound a little scary on some of the notes, but you know, this is the other option. The interest rate will be higher. Now you can set a variable interest where if it drops, then you can lock it in. You pay like a $500 fee and they'll lock in the lower interest rate. $500 might sound like a lot, but if it saves you $15,000 in the long run of interest, I would say that's $500 worth spending. So interest rate's going to be higher, term length's going to be shorter. So your notes are going to be bigger. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're looking at. The Growing Forward thing, you may not have to put down a down payment, so it's very similar to FSA in that aspect. The other really cool thing that Farm Credit will do that others may not is if the farm appraises, I think if it appraises high, I can't remember what their amount it has to be, but I'm going to say 85%. As long as the loan amount that you're financing is less than 85% of the approval, 75 to 85% of the approval amount, appraisal amount, then they'll cover it with zero down payment because it stands for itself. Meaning if you were to go broke and you can do it, they could turn around and sell the farm and recoup their finances. So that is one of the really cool things with Farm Credit. I mean, it's one of my favorite things about Farm Credit. If you can buy a farm for a good deal, there's a good chance that you can probably get it and let the farm stand for itself and you will have to put nothing down. That's pretty awesome to me. Now that may be specific to Growing Forward, but I'm not sure. I am in the Growing Forward plan, so I can't speak from out of that. Also, another cool thing is Farm Credit is, I don't know that you would call it, I don't know that it's called a co-op, but when you buy or when you take a loan out with Farm Credit, you're actually buying stock essentially in the company. So you get a check. You'll get a check every year. I don't remember what they call it, but it'll be a check that you receive from them. And you know, the more you make, or the more you buy from them, the more loans you take out, obviously the greater your check is. And oftentimes the check will almost be enough to cover the amount of interest you pay. Like if your note was $18,000, or I don't know, $18,000, $12,000, whatever, you might get a check for $6,000, $8,000, $9,000. That's pretty much going to cover your interest. You'll basically be paying principal. That's not guaranteed, so you don't want to go into it setting it up that way. But it is another thing. You typically will get a check back. And they explain this a whole lot better. I'm just telling you I'm just scratching the surface of this. But now here's the big kicker. This is what I found out recently. If you run into a deal, and most guys buy farm ground without ever planning to sell any ground. I'm the same way. Most every farmer I know never buys a farm with the idea of selling a farm. But if you go to FSA, now I'm going back to FSA here. If you go to FSA and you use the Young Farmer Loan, you buy a farm through them the first time, you got nothing. You're solid. If you go back to FSA and you take out another loan on more land or equipment, then man, you have just made a dangerous move. And I say that because they are going to take a lien out on everything. I mean, they want to take a lien out on everything. Now, you might say, well, sorry, you might have heard me chewing that ice. You might say, well, what difference does that make? To me, if they have a lien out on it, I don't care. Where you would care is if somebody comes and tries to buy some land of yours. And again, I know most people are like, I'll never sell my land. If it makes sense and it's an opportunity that's going to advance your operation, you would be silly not to. And by that I mean, let's say you got a 40-acre farm over here. You paid $3,000 an acre for it, and you get a phone call from this business, whatever, and they offer you $15,000 an acre. I'm going to be honest with you, you would be a real doofus to turn that down. Hey, look, you might have ironclad integrity for holding out. More power to you. But think about it on the flip side. If you sold that 40 acres for $15,000 an acre, or even $10,000 an acre, you could put that money, you would easily clear the $3,000 an acre loan you have, and then you could put that money towards more farm, pay off equipment. You would advance your operation. It would be silly of you not to do that. That's where I'm talking about, because at the end of the day, farming is a business. So you got to have some business moves in there, and that's kind of how the mindset you need to be in. So that is where you run into a problem, because FSA is going to say, well, wait a minute now. You can't sell this farm over here because we have liens against this farm. The only way you can sell this farm is if you pay off your loans to remove those liens. And that will freaking handcuff the crap out of you. Because if you don't have a way to refinance these loans over here, then you'd have to come up with the cash. Let's say you had $200,000 loan over here. You're going to sell the farm for $400,000, and it cost you $150,000 to pay off what you owe. You were going to have $250,000 to spare. You're about to have to burn $200,000 of that to pay off this loan, and then you'll have $50,000 cash left. To me, that's not a very good move. So, I would advise you, if you want to use FSA, they're a great starting point. The pain in the butt of the paperwork and all that, I've talked about it. You don't have that with Farm Credit. Farm Credit is 1,000 times easier. I make a phone call, tell the guy, like, I'm going to buy this combine, or I'm looking at this land. They start working on it, and I've even been able to DocuSign, where they email you the documents and you sign them. It is a breeze. It is so much easier using Farm Credit than FSA. It's not even comparable how much easier it is. I mean, Lord. So, if you were going to use FSA, getting back to what I was going to say, use as much as you can the first time and don't use them again. They're like a one and done kind of thing. Use them and then go to Farm Credit. That's the advice I would give you. Start there and go to Farm Credit, because if you don't go back and take another loan out with FSA, they can't sink their claws into anything else you purchase because you're not rearranging anything with them. That's my advice. That's how I would do it. I mean, that's how I did it. Where I did get into dangerous territory is I went back and I made another purchase using FSA. And I mean, I learned about a month ago that FSA has their teeth in everything pretty much that I own because of that reason, because I went back and took out another loan. And that's just bull crap. I don't like that. They already have a lien out on the land that I've got currently. I mean, they have the first lien against the land. When you buy the farm, they have the first lien. It's frustrating to me that they want to put a lien on your semi-truck, your track hoe, and this other farm you buy. Like, I mean, it's crazy. They start sinking their teeth into everything. Farm Credit does not do that. They're going to take a lien out on whatever the first farm is you buy. or the farm you buy through them. Like they're gonna need collateral in that sense, but they're not. It's different. If with Farm Credit, let's say you were going to sell this farm, they could release the farm. Like if they had a farm had a lien on it, they could release it, do these things. FSA will not do that. They will not do that. It's against their regulations. It's not up to the people that work there. This is government, folks. You ain't dealing with government with Farm Credit. Farm Credit has a reason to be competitive. They want your business because it's good for their business to get your business. FSA is the government. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to them. So, guys, that was that video might have been a tad longer than the other one. I don't even know the time. I can't see it. It's way up there. But I hope that gives you some more insight into the loan options. I would encourage you, use a first loan with the FSA Young Farmers Loan. Now, I'm telling you, be prepared because you are going to have a nightmare of paperwork. Go with Farm Credit on all of the remaining. I mean, all of them. Equipment, land. Don't go back to FSA. You'll be making a very bad move. And I know, like I said, trust me, I know, I got some John Dutton watching that's like, I'll never sell. And I appreciate that, man. I respect that. But you never know when an insanely great opportunity will come knocking on your door that would advance you as a farmer, advance your operation, help your family, all these things. You want to be able to capitalize on those situations. Trust me. So, one and done on FSA, Farm Credit for the rest of them. They're a great option. I am a huge fan of them. They have been phenomenal for me. My advisor, I really, really like him. And he's an advisor to me on all kinds of decisions that I make on the farm. And they'll look at you, they'll even help you figure out, do I need to upgrade combines this year? Do I need to upgrade planters? Do I need to pay this off, pay that out? They will work with you on these things. They're very good with this kind of stuff. So Farm Credit, I use Farm Credit Mid-America. Look up their Growing Forward program. All right, guys, thank you. And I guess a quick little update. We will be starting harvest here in just the next few days. My dad actually shed a little corn today. Moisture's still high. I've got some beans, early beans that I should shell or cut in probably about 8 days, and get on the corn. Probably going to shell some corn maybe in a couple days. Try it. But we're about to get rolling. I'm going to have some of that footage I'm going to put up on here for you guys. Also, this series is going to continue. Like I said, I apologize. It's took me a while to get up here and make this video for you, but I'm glad that it did because I could include that bit of information for you. If you enjoy this video, please hit like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. And also, I just watched a film. I'm going to be doing a review on it. Let me look up, make sure I get the name right. But I had the person reach out to me that made it. And it's called Delmarva and the Ground for Change. The name was interesting. I'll be honest, the name kind of threw me off. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but it's actually produced, or it's on the USDA's YouTube channel. And I'll just give you a teaser quickly. If you're interested in cover crops and if you're interested in farming, row crop particularly, well, and dairy, then I would encourage you to go watch this film, Delmarva and the Ground for Change. You can look it up on YouTube. It is really, really good. And I'm going to do a review on it very soon. Appreciate her for reaching out to me. But guys, that's all I got for you. Please, again, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Hang in there with me. We're going to get some more channels going. Comment below if you have something you'd like for me to cover in particular. Let me know what you thought of the video. If there's anything specific, please reach out to me. Guys, thank you. Have a good one.